Hello and welcome to TraegerMethod Oil Painting Episode 15. I've been painting houses the last week. I couldn't get up there today on the ladder on the scaffold because we have a windstorm which is bringing in massive amounts of wildfire smoke. It's the annual fire season. That's a new thing as of, I think, 3 years ago. This might be the 4th year of summer wildfire smoke in Portland. I know it was the year before last that we had the ash rain. That was especially apocalyptic. I mean, it's pretty apocalyptic when the sky is orange, but it's especially so when there's nickel-sized pieces of ash raining down from the sky all day. I remember that year that, in particular, it was because right around this time, late summer, early fall, is when the spiders really start making webs everywhere. It's spider season, and all the spider webs were covered in ash. It was a very haunting sight, smell, experience. A couple of years ago, I bought those square flat filters that you put in like a central heating in your house, like the air filter you put down there. And I made these. I took a box fan, because it was so hot that I took a box fan and then put the air filter on top and on the front of it so it would pull in air and filter it while it came in. Haven't had to do that this year because it's not as hot, so just keeping the windows closed. Pretty much from the Canadian border to the Mexican border, the sky is filled with smoke. Shouldn't worry anybody though, because it's the new normal. So since it's normal, it's not bad, right? New normal. You wear a mask everywhere you go. There is a pandemic loose in the United States. Our passports don't allow us to leave the country anymore because no country on earth will accept Americans, because we are a pariah nation due to our inability to get the plague under control. We are alone among Western industrialized nations in that respect. That's new normal. New normal. Police are openly working to suppress our right to protest. They are openly aligned with white supremacist, fascist organizations. Facebook groups now count as militias. Social media has revealed itself to be a anti-democratic misinformation fountain. That's the new normal. An apocalyptic conspiracy cult is aligning itself with the highest levers of power, getting support from billionaire tech. That's the new normal. They believe the fascist, imbecile, con artist is a Christ-like figure. That's the new normal. None of it's bad because it's normal now, right? Okay. Normal is good. Election is, I don't know how many days away. Way too many. Neither party, neither candidate wants universal health care. Both parties agree we want to maintain a for-profit healthcare system in the United States. That's not the new normal, that's just normal. Enough of that, though. I got asked to do a comedy show this weekend. I've been hired to do a comedy show. I haven't done any stand-up in about, I don't even know when I stopped doing it, but it's been over a year. I quit doing it not out of any decision. I just stopped, lost interest. And then the pandemic hit, and stand-up comedy ended as well, as it had been going. I guess stand-up comedy saw me leave and thought, well, what's the point? Jason's gone. Let's just pack up. Understandable. No, but I'm looking forward to this show. It's going to be interesting to see what I come up with between now and showtime. It's a special gig. It's a man's 50th birthday, and he recently overcame cancer, potentially deadly cancer. So it's cause for real celebration. Been looking through some old notes, trying to reacquaint myself with material. Of course, I want to come up with something new. Do a death meditation of some kind. I typically weave that into my comedy. I'm going to go micro macro. That's tends to be how I think about things. You know, get real micro, like just talk about my dog, going for walks. There's like the 2 activities that I do nowadays. 2 of the 5 or 6 activities. Walk the dog, go for a walk without the dog. Walk places, look at things. Sit on a sidewalk and eat food outdoors occasionally. Talk about those micro things, and then also talk about the macro. The dead can't die, they're already dead. The living live forever. Our death is always in the future. As long as we're alive, death is an upcoming event. The only place that exists for us is in the imagination. It exists solely for us as an experience in the imagination, the same place we experience God and Harry Potter and everything else. outside our immediate realm of existence, felt, experienced existence. That's no diss on Harry Potter. It doesn't make him any less magical. The fact that he only exists in our imagination, that is where we encounter him, doesn't take anything away from Harry. The sky is filled with smoke. The pandemic rages. Fascism is ascendant. The polar ice caps are melting. Sea level is rising. All the empty space in the city is filled with tents. Jeff Bezos just became the richest man in world history. $200 billion. Unemployment is at near record levels. There are more guns than people in the United States. City I live in, there are nightly clashes between the police and protesters, protesting police violence. Each weekend brings a fascist rally to the city to protest against the protesters who are protesting police violence. There has been blood spilled in the street. People have been shot. People have died. There are rallies planned for every weekend coming up. I like that people are still having children, like I find that inspiring, Like you look at all this, maybe you don't look at it. That's why it's cool. But the idea of just like, yeah, I'm gonna have a baby in 2020. When the kid is 13, it'll be 2033. I think your 13-year-old's gonna be like good with that. You think they're gonna be like, thanks, Mom. I'm glad you enjoyed me as a baby. But now I'm a 13-year-old and it's 2033. It's 138 degrees outside. What were you, like, seriously, what were you on? Donald Trump was the president. And you just said, yeah, I want to have a baby. I'd like to have a cute little... Okay, that sounds really negative. Because it is. Sorry. No, I mean, actually, it's just not for me. I couldn't handle that. Other people, I get it. And, also, like, why not? It's always the end of the world, I mean, we lived in, we're coming out of this time that was very unusual. It was this little burst of prosperity, quote unquote. The oil age, the century of American power, ascendancy. It's a very bizarre, strange time. And now it's coming to an end. We're getting back to the way things always were, which is, you die at 45. Life is short, brutal. Mad kings rule. Over peasants. That's how most of human history was. I don't know. Whatever. Not important. I always thought to myself, like, it'd be good to be a voice of reassurance on some level. So that's what I try and find. Like, there's no reason just doing some kind of panic thing. And there's also no reason just being like, just almost gloating in negativity. I mean, I get that. I mean, obviously I fight going into that. Because, ultimately it's a way of getting out of doing anything about anything, helping someone, helping fight against these things. I mean, I guess one of the questions I come up with sometimes is, can you be absolutely pessimistic and still motivated to take action? And I think you can. I do think so. I think it's an impediment somewhat, but I think you can. I know I still take action to do positive things, not as much as I could. And I hold out little to no hope. I guess the other technique that I use, I mean, no hope about like the world as it is, as we perceive it, this physical, the world of physics. I look at things like, well, we're not going to stop burning fossil fuels in time. We're not going to stop producing plastic in time to, stop the ocean from becoming every fish having plastic in its stomach. It's already too late on all those things, right? And that's not negativity, that's just acceptance of reality. I think it's more negative to go, no, everything's going to be fine. Because that's just not true. But the thing that I was thinking is, all those things, we can't, that all counts on this being the actual be-all and end-all of reality, which is not, just not a thing that I believe. It's all consciousness. Did I already talk about this? That everything exists within consciousness? Was that this take, or was that another take? Because I originally started recording this, and I realized that I had messed up and made this sequence 23 hours long. So I was recording trying to figure out why it was moving so slowly. Then I realized it was 23 hours long. So I stopped and redid it, and I started recording again, but I'm not sure what I've already covered in this one. But I'm going to say it again, even if I started this video talking about this, I'm going to say it one more time, which is this. The thing I'm going to say is as follows. The dead can't die, they're already dead. The living live forever. Death's always in the future. On either side of the veil of death, we live forever. Everything takes place within consciousness. Consciousness is infinite. There's nothing outside of it. You say, well, what about the unconscious? Well, that's an idea in consciousness. You can't get out of this one. Everything takes place within consciousness. There's nothing outside of it. If there was something outside of it, the finite, That still exists within consciousness. That's an idea within consciousness. There's no way out of that. The infinite cannot exist within, the finite cannot exist within the infinite. This is a quote that of my own, that I say to myself a lot, a phrase or an idea, an affirmation, you might call it, that I often say to myself is, I don't know enough about reality. I don't know enough about the world. I don't know enough about consciousness to say that everything sucks. Like if I just don't feel like I have the authority to be that voice of, what's the point of anything? Everything sucks. I don't know enough about it. There's different ideas that float around. Maybe, obviously many people have likened life, waking reality, to a dream. I'm a person who has lucid dreams fairly often. A lucid dream being a dream where you wake up within it and you can, to some degree, control what you do, your actions, your activities. You can explore. And it's very real when you're in it. Very real. It is your reality. You're living it. The parallels between a lucid dream and what's going on right now are, as I look around and make this recording, it's very, very similar. There's, almost no difference. The rules of physics don't apply in a lucid dream, but other than that, it's the same deal. By that I mean, you can fly, you can teleport to other places, you can levitate objects, things that you just, can't really pull off in this realm. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. You're just experiencing stuff, looking at stuff, thinking about stuff. Can even smell things. I've smelled things in a dream. Just last night I had a double dream, a dream within a dream, which is always funny when you wake up from one of those. I had this dream where I was explaining to somebody why I love Iggy Pop and Kate Bush so much, why I see them as two of the best musicians and artists of the rock genre, whatever you want to call it. And I was explaining that to someone. Then I woke up and I was explaining to someone else about this dream I had where I was talking about Kate Bush. And then I woke up from that into this reality. I was over at my girlfriend's house. I'd slept there, and I woke up to be beside her and the dog, and I was like, oh, dream within a dream. It's a classic. I remember the first dream within a dream that I can recall. The one that was really remarkable was when I lived in Olympia. I had this upstairs room, had a futon, and this was in the 90s. I had a futon, and I woke up in my room, 100% just my room, and I looked at the foot of my bed, and there was a spotted palm tree right there. The room completely normal, just like it was, except there was this potted palm tree, like a large, tall palm tree that went almost up to the ceiling. And I woke up and I looked at it and I thought, I don't have a palm tree in my room. And I thought to myself, well, this is a dream. And then I woke up again into the same room and I looked and the palm tree wasn't there. It was incredible. Very strange. Dreams, no one wants to hear about dreams, that's for sure. Although, I've done a couple quote-unquote jokes, comedy bits about dreams. That might be a decent thing to weave into this set on a Saturday. I think that'd be cool, actually. So that's what I'm thinking for this set on Saturday. It's going to be dreams, death, my dog, comedy, talk about the dog, talk about death, talk about dreams. It'll be fine. It'll be good. It'll be better than fine. It'll be great. I mean, sometimes I think, people just want to laugh. They just want to hear nonsense and silly things. But then I'm like, really? I don't want to hear that. I want to hear stuff about how things are, like help me process this reality. So maybe that's what people want. And even if they don't want it, they're going to hear it. Making people laugh, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to make people do anything. If you want a middle-aged white guy to make you do something, there's a Portland protest every night. A cop will be happy to do that. They get paid a lot more than stand-up comics, so go make them do that work. Laugh if you want to when I'm doing comedy. That's all I care about. Cry if you want to. That's legit too. I figured this person that called me to book me for his birthday party was a fan. I've never been the most popular comic in any show I've been on, but there's always one or two people for whom I'm the favorite, which is cool by me. And I figured this guy was one of those people. But then he explained to me, no, he had actually wanted to book Shane Torres. He didn't realize that Shane has gone on to be a nationally known comic, and he lives in New York now. So he asked a friend of his if that friend knew a good stand-up comic in Portland, and he recommended me. So this person actually doesn't have any idea what he's getting into booking me. But I wasn't about to turn it down because, it's a birthday. He just survived cancer. It's a small show for 20 or so people in a house. That's the kind of show I want to do. Plus it pays, that's just very important. Now that I'm painting houses, I really appreciate making money in a way that doesn't involve standing on a ladder and in the hot sun. So, very happy about that. Sorry about that. So that's where I'm at right now. That's what I'm thinking about. This helped me process this comedy show. This helped me organize my thoughts a little, focus intention. I hope it's done something for you. Catharsis, maybe. Oh, and I'd also like to recommend another thing that's been helping me in this incredibly difficult and challenging time we live in, is looking at watching videos about distant Earth history, like the birth of the planets, the early extinction, the Silurian period, the Devonian period. Those eras when dinosaurs were a distant, were far in the future, like the times when the Earth was, life on Earth was slime molds. I like to think about the evolution of the eyeball, like the idea that there was a time before there were eyes, that eyes developed out of light-sensitive cells in the skin. But think about that. There was a time before there were eyes. There will probably be another time like that too. All right, Traeger Method, we're out.